Buying a house is not like buying a car.
Buying a house is not like buying a pair of jeans.
Buying a house is not like buying a bike.
Buying a house is not like buying a new fishing pole.
Not like buying coffee.
It's the beginning of 2025, January, and right now I'm on 2 days in a row of actually doing my New Year's resolution for working out. So 2 days in a row, just
big time.
a few days late, but
Congratulations.
But I thought what would be a timely discussion today is that we talk about where to start if you're thinking about buying a house. So let's get this party started. Jordan, since you recently bought a house, where do you start and what do you recommend?
I would say starting with proper expectations. So expectations of what you're going to be into financially. So whether it be down payment or if you're able to get any loans or grants from your lender, know how much money you need, approximately how much you're going to need for either like stuff like earnest money, stuff during the process like earnest money, inspection fees, appraisal fees, that kind of stuff, how much you can expect cash to close. Other than setting the right expectations for what season are you in terms of the real estate market, how soon should you be like ready to go, because there's different seasons of how fast houses are coming on the market. For example, spring, typically houses are a lot more inventories on the market than if you're looking, in the middle of Thanksgiving or something like that. So just have different expectations of how ready you need to be. And a good way to get a lot of those expectations is to sit down and meet with one of us. And that's why we're so happy to meet with you, because we want to have that opportunity to set expectations for what the process looks like. We want to have that opportunity to start the process with you. And like I said, setting expectations really does help the process go way smoother, because there's going to be bumps because it's a big process, but having the right expectations, the bumps you can go over really smoothly.
Yeah, and I think it's important just to add to that is it's never, hey, when should I do it? Am I hey, next year, 2 years, 3 months, 6 months, 4 months? I think to have a plan is to have a goal is to also create a plan. And without a plan, like Jason said, just start his new resolution of working out. In the past, he's also done that and done a very good job of having a plan for it, whether he likes it or not. And so I just kind of relate to that, and just add on that, it's like you got to have a plan. So I always tell people, it's like, all right, six months to a year, okay, that's fine. Let's have a plan. Let's meet together, like Jordan just said. Let's work through things. Let's see where you're at financially, and create a plan. If it's now, great. If it's not, hey, let's work towards next year. And a lot of single mothers or single income homes, that's important. And it's important to everybody, but just in general, having a plan is important.
Yeah, I think I would kind of piggyback off of Jordan, and I liked how he kind of talked about reaching out to an agent to help set those expectations, because I feel like you can talk to a lot of family and friends, and that's great, and their like preferences and their like ideas are great and helpful, but they're like they're not in the market, and so they don't know different deals, different like loans, lenders type thing.
Are you saying that everybody has an opinion? Is that what you're saying?
I am saying that. And it is nice sometimes.
That's true.
It is nice sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think going to the source of like finding an agent, whether our team or whoever.
Yeah, one thing too about talking to friends and family, Jordan kind of talked about like seasonality of the business. We're in 2025, and it was in 2021 is a completely different market. So if someone bought in 2021, the tools and the game plan that we present to our buyers then is completely different than it is now. And so depending on the market, we spend countless hours developing plans specifically for our clients to be successful in their home buying purchase. And so it's really important that you talk to somebody that's a full-time real estate agent that does it all the time, because the market can shift really quickly. And if you work with someone that's part-time, the market could be in a totally different space than it was when they did their last transaction. Over the last 5 years, we've been working with anywhere 50 to 60 buyers a year, and that's been pretty consistent, but that's a lot of experience that we have as a team working with buyers, and then we work with about 30 to 40 sellers a year. So we do about 100 transactions a year, but as a team, it's like that's a lot of experience, that's a lot of offers we negotiate, it's a lot of inspection issues that we deal with, just a lot of experience. You want someone that, you want an experienced agent that knows how to help you through the process. You don't want to have an agent that's going to experiment on you on what works and what doesn't. You want someone that actually has a real experience, and that's what our team has. It's We're all full-time, and this is what we're dedicated to do. And having a plan from an expert is really important. Otherwise, you're just going to be just kind of guessing. One thing for me personally is a few years ago, I needed to change my ways. I'm approaching 40 in the near future. And just nutritionally, I had to change it. And so I made a plan, but I kept failing. And then eventually I met with one nutritionist, then I met with the second one. Well, the first one helped me, but the second one kind of put it all together. So the point is, you can create a plan, but come alongside people that are experts in that have your best interests in mind. We view ourselves as consultants, not salespeople. Salespeople, they just want to have you buy something and get you out the door. We're all about lifelong relationships and friendships, and we want to be your advocate from starting to beginning. But then also long term, we want to stay in touch. So whether you're going to be doing a new kitchen remodel or need new windows, give us a call. We pride ourselves to help you throughout your whole time while you own here in Des Moines. So it's not just you buy and you don't hear from us. We want to stay in touch. Speaking of seasonality, Jordan, when did you approximately start, and then when did you close? Then what was your urgency, like when you started to close? Did the urgency increase? What season did you buy?
I bought. We closed in the beginning of November, and I would say we started looking maybe end of July. We had pretty high urgency towards the end because our lease was ending in December. But when we first started looking, like I said, I'm in the industry, so I know how houses can just come on. So I wasn't too rushed. I knew a lot of the expectations of what kind of money I needed up front and that kind of stuff. So our urgency probably started at a 1 to 10. Probably started at like a 2, but then like suddenly in a week we saw houses start coming on. We're like, oh, we could actually put an offer in if we wanted to. So our urgency increased to like a 9 or a 10. We looked at like 20 houses or something like that in the course of like a week and a half.
And I think that as a first-time home buyer, you need more time, like to set a plan. But then after that, you kind of know when you buy your second house, you kind of know what your deficiencies are, what you need. So it's a lot easier to make a selection to move up or to move down. It takes 5 to 6 weeks after the signed offer to actually close. So you need to like plan like 3 to 4 months out from when your lease is up to start looking, get the process going. So start with a plan. That plan is developing a budget and then working with an agent on expectations. The first few months, you guys decided to rent though after you guys got married, right?
Yep.
Why did you guys do that?
Well, we wanted to rent because we weren't in a place financially that we could afford the monthly payments. We had zero money saved up because we just burned it all on an amazing wedding, wonderful, I love
It's a great
wedding. Exactly.
Snowy was a great wedding.
Snowy, yeah. Did you like the wedding?
High chai.
High chai.
Oh, it was great.
Wonderful.
We also had your advice actually. You said that actually sometimes it's good to wait a little bit after marriage just because you start learning how you flow, what kind of rooms you want, that kind of thing. So like, we'll wait a little bit, we'll rent for a little bit. But we knew we wanted to buy a house like pretty much immediately just because we know we're staying in Des Moines for at least the next 5 to 7 years. We don't want to be throwing away our money. We're going to be paying someone's mortgage. We can pay ourselves. We can pay our own mortgage or we can pay our landlord's mortgage. So we definitely want to buy as soon as possible. But we need to figure some stuff out. Then just location, where our lifestyle was going to be. Yeah.
Did you sit down with Miranda and just kind of basically have like a buyer consultation with her?
Yep. Probably about 6 months out. This is when I actually said, hey, just this is the stuff we need to. Here's our goals. Here's our timeline. Here's how long it should take, and like just setting expectations because again like. It can be an emotional roller coaster finding a house. Then you go through the bidding process. Then you don't get it. It can really tear you down. It's okay. Another house is going to come on. It's quite all right. So setting those expectations.
So you would say you guys' new resolution was, hey, we're looking to buy a house in 2024. This is last year. Let's sit together, do a buyer consult in January. Start looking in July, and it sounds like you guys close in November. It's a great timeline.
So this is why it takes time, is that you need to have a plan to save, clean up some finances if you need to. That's what my wife and I needed to do. So we're in a house for about 4 more years than we outgrew for, but we did that because being a small business owner, we needed to pay off our student loans. She held on for 4 years without a dishwasher because we didn't want to invest anything more into where we're staying at. So when we paid it off, it was go time. Amanda looked at me and said, okay, it's time to buy. And I said, yep. And so we went and bought.
What are some misconceptions that a lot of people have?
Number one is 20% down. That's a misconception that in order to buy a house, you have to do 20% down.
What's typical that people put down?
Well, as a first-time home buyer, you can do 0% down, but what's typical is 5%. 5%, so my general rule of thumb is 5% down plus having 2% in additional rainy day fund as savings.
Again, the reason why we do 5%, we encourage 5%, and I mean, this is everybody. We at least try to do, hey, let's aim for 5% because the rate's better, payment's going to be better for the same house.
So that's one misconception. The other misconception is it has to be your own money. So you can do a grant as well. So you can do 5% down. So earlier on, when purchase price was around that 120, a lot of my clients at the time were getting 5% or a $5,000 grant for that, so they didn't have to do any money down of their own cash.
I would say the other misconception that I hear a lot is it has to be your forever home, and that is not true.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that we like to drive and encourage you guys is just to get on base.
Yeah.
Hey, this has to be your first time home, second or third. It does not have to be a home run. Let's just get on base, build equity, and then hey, build something for your next home, right? The average homeowner prior to 2018 was 5 to 7 years. Now it's maybe closer to 7 to 12 years in that space. And then guess what? By then you'll have hopefully a bunch of niños, a lot of kids, and then you can get some bigger. And you're more advanced in your career. So that'll be my misconception that I've heard so far.
Yeah.
I think one misconception that I have is 3 words: monthly payment from Zestimate. So you'll be looking on there and be like, oh, this house is awesome. It's like, look at that monthly payment. It's like $1,600, $1,700 a month, and it's like, well, it is, but they're probably putting 20 to 25% down in that equation.
Yeah.
And so I that's another reason why I think it's helpful to either get connected to a lender or probably get connected to a lender. That's really helpful because they can give you an accurate how much that's actually going to be in light of your circumstance, how much you're bringing down, how much you're getting from either a lender or a grant or with those monthly taxes, that kind of thing. So one misconception is Zestimate, monthly payments from Zestimate.
Yeah.
I would say like entitlement. This is
It's big.
so where I say about entitlement, it's like, well, I've done everything right. I've saved the money. I got pre-approved, so I'm going to buy the house that I want. Well, it's a commodity business, and you might miss out on houses. And so the point is, just because you offer a certain amount doesn't mean just because you're approved doesn't mean you can just get it.
A lot of times you can get pre-approved for a decent chunk of money, and then you like think through your monthly payment and stuff, and you're like, that would not be feasible at all. At least that's how it was for us.
Yeah.
We got pre-approved for a lot more than I think I would ever like actually be okay with spending on a mortgage every month. And so I don't know if that's necessarily a misconception.
Well, I think like the misconception is just because I'm pre-approved means I can afford it per month. You have to understand people's like incentive values. Like some lenders, they don't have the mindset. They say you're approved for that much, you can do it, but we don't want you to be house poor. So that's why it's good to have a good agent actually talk to you about your budget, because I can't tell you how many buyers have talked them out of spending more money because or going to their max, because all of a sudden it's like, well, now you're gonna have to start delivering pizzas on the weekend if you're just house poor. Another misconception: all loan officers are the same. Just because you get licensed doesn't mean you have good experience, and it doesn't mean you're a good person. It doesn't mean your bank has a good product. You could love the loan officer, but the point is you may have a terrible product that your bank offers, and it may not be the right fit for you, unfortunately. Not all banks offer the same products, and that's why it's important to have a real estate agent that's loyal to the client, not to other banks. We're loyal to our client, want to find the right fit for them financially, at least present it to them so they know. Another misconception is all real estate agents are the same.
That's the big one.
That's the big one, obviously, in our industry. It's like, but just hear me out. Hear me out. It's like not all doctors are the same, not all mechanics are the same, not all attorneys are the same. They might have all the same credentials, but it doesn't make them an expert in their field. All of us have had a terrible mechanic with our cars before that ended up costing us a lot of money. Some of us have had terrible doctors before, terrible dentists, but we've also had good ones. And when you have a good one, we want to go to them. So we want to be good agents, good consultants, and we want to help you make the wisest choice with the biggest purchase you're ever going to make. And so it's really important to understand that just because someone's licensed doesn't mean they're good at their craft. The easy part is getting your license. The hard part is actually doing a good job, and that's what we've dedicated our lives to, our work lives to, is doing a good job. Let's wrap it all up. So the first step Jordan hit on was
Create proper expectations. meet with an agent, get expectations, what the process is going to be like, how much money to bring, that kind of stuff, timeline, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was just gonna add to that. I was like, most important is an agent that's gonna help you get to where you want to get to with the proper expectations. Anybody can just meet with an agent, but as the agent looking out for your best interest of what your goals are, not our goals, your goals are, and kind of be a cheerleader for you, be in your corner, and help you every step of the way. You know, accountability is also important as well.
Yeah, and I would say, additionally with that, because we're kind of just wrapping it all up, is setting right expectations. That means setting up your budget, understand what the market is, but also recognize where you're at seasonality with your life. My parents didn't buy a house until they're 40. And so Jordan's 25, bought his first house. Well, my parents, they have a pretty nice house, but they were 40 when they bought it. So if you're a first-time home buyer and you're 25 buying a house, it's going to look different. And you have to understand where you're at in your life, you know. And so I would just say it's never too early to start buying a house if you can afford it and this is where you want to live. And just be proud of that, because the nice thing about home ownership, we can go through this in our consultations, homes typically appreciate, and it's really amazing to see like your home appreciate. So if you live with it for 7 years compared to renting the same type of house for 7 years, how much money you end up getting to put that 7 years of equity into your forever home potentially, or your home you want to live in for a long time. So it's never too early with that. So like set expectations, do a consultation with an agent. We'll set up a plan for you. And it's never too early to start meeting with us, whether it takes you want to buy a house in 2 months or 2 years from now. It's good to set a plan now, because home ownership is a wonderful thing, especially here in central Iowa.
Amen.
That's what we'll talk about in the future, is about how Des Moines is the greatest place to live. And we'll go all over all the articles, and it's really amazing. One of the greatest places to actually own a house is here in Des Moines, Iowa. It's never too early to start.
That's right.